And now to provide the finishing touches on our app, and that is that I've created here a on list item click. And this is a method that's provided by the list activity class. So if you do a search in the list activity class like we did in one of the earlier videos, you'll see that there is a method there called on list item click. And I copied from the documentation there what the different parameters are that are part of this method. The parameter one is the list view where the click happened, the view that was clicked, so that's this one, the view that was clicked within the list view, etc., etc. And so as I typed this in, of course, I got the little blue pop-up that said, shall I import in those classes? And so those classes got imported as I created that method or rewrote that method. And so now, and recognize too that this is a new function or method, so it is outside of the open and closing curly brace of the onCreate. So we are creating a click event for each of those list items. And so what we're getting here and what we're going to be utilizing in this code is when the user clicks on one of those items, we will be receiving via this position variable which element in the array they actually typed. And so that way we'll know where to send them. So now we're going to create a switch statement. And a switch statement, we're going to use position. And the idea here is that this is an easy way to check. Like, for example, if let me just type position and break. Okay, so the idea with a case 0 is if the user clicked on the first element in our list, that translates to the 0 element in our array, and that would be the Art Institute of Chicago, in other words. And so what we're going to want to do from there is we're going to display a web page. The reason why we need the break is if we don't have a break, let's just say the next one. Let's say I did case 1, and then this is going, case 1 is Magnificent Mile, so this is going to display the web page for Magnificent Mile. And if you don't put in the break, then the way that switch statements work is as soon as something is evaluated to true, there will be no more evaluations made. Everything will continue to render true. In other words, without this break, let me put this. So if I had done display, and I actually did the code for display the web page for Art Institute. So if position was 0, what happens with a switch statement is this evaluates to true, so this code would be rendered. If the break was not here, no more evaluations would be made, and all subsequent code and all of the other subsequent case conditions would also render. In other words, without this break statement, if case were 0, this web page would be displayed, and then this case evaluation would be ignored, and whatever code was here would render, and all the way down. So break is a way to say, you know, I just want you, if case is 0, do this one or whatever statements we have as part of this case block, and then break away from the switch statement. So they're necessary here. All right, so how do we display the web page then? All right, well, what we'll do is we're going to start an activity. And our intent here, we need to create a new intent. And we're going to use intent dot and something called action view. And so action view is a generic action that is kind of a catch-all. It's going to return the best results that the Android operating system can render based on its best guess. And so meanwhile, it looks like I have to fix my intent, new intent. What am I missing here? Cannot resolve intent. So therefore it's not being imported, and so I'm not sure why I'm not getting my little pop-up, but we'll add that in here. So I'll just copy and paste because that makes it quicker. So we need to make sure we import our intent, and so that should clear up our red error. So it does. All right, so we're going to utilize this action view intent, and then we're going to, let's see, where am I? Lost my place with that error there. New intent, action. Okay, and then we're going to use URI parse. And then we're going to put in the name of the web page. So it is giving us the little pop-up there. So up above, we should now be importing the correct class. So there it is, the correct library. And so now we have to finish this. So we're going to do http arctic.edu is the name of that site. And so I'll go ahead and do this one as well. Start activity. New intent, action view, URI.parse, and we'll do HTTP. I'm just going to copy in the URL so I don't have to make a mistake there. And we'll put the URI in here. The URI, incidentally, is the domain plus the protocol, so it's the entire piece, the entire location. All right, so now that we have that, don't forget to do the break. And then we run this and see, I'm going to run my emulator and verify that both of these cases are working. So I'm back in my emulator, and when I click on the button, nothing's happening. And I realize, as I'm playing around with this, you can see that the click is working. But what I realized was I used a capital O instead of a lowercase o here on my list item listener. So it needs to be a lowercase o. And so once I do that, I should be able to refresh my emulator. And then let's see what happens. And now it's trying to open up a browser. So now I'm in better shape. Just once. And boom. All right, so that's utilizing the, yeah. Okay, great, thanks. Anyway, so that's utilizing the new activity where we're actually calling a browser instead of an activity. No thanks. Eventually we're going to get there. There we go. So now you should be able to create, we've already done creating the activities for the pictures, so you should be able to complete that code. Case 2, case 3, case 4, create a new activity that's showing the different images for the Willis Tower or whatever else is in there. So that's a wrap for this week. So hopefully you enjoyed learning some new things.